Algebra 1, welcome back, guys. Hey, we are in section 3 today, all right? Chapter 5, section 3. And again, it's vital. Watch these videos, take notes. I understand you may look at these already and be like, give me a break. There's an insane amount of notes. I do this because it's helpful, all right? Some of you guys pick this up really quick, others don't, and you need this kind of stuff. So what I've also done is I've just highlighted some of the key parts. But make sure, though, for example, when you look at this page and you see that all I've highlighted is first, second, and third, that's me just quickly letting you know, hey, there's 3 steps here. You do need to understand the little bits that come after it, okay? So take the time right here. You can pause the video, copy that down, or take the time right here to pause it and just read it and make sure that it's making sense, all right? So follow those notes given right there. Problem says, hey, tell it whether the point lies on the line. First, read that note. Second, plug it in. Third, we're going to answer if it's yes or no, and you're going to follow the example problems as we go through it. All right, second part. All right, if you're given an equation and all that it is it just says y equals, that's it, then this is going to make a horizontal line. Again, I'm trying to highlight the big important parts, but some of you want the thorough stuff, so read it all, okay? Next part, if you get an equation that just says x equals, what do we do here? Well, it's going to make a vertical line, okay? That's important for you to know and understand, especially if they're saying, hey, graph this. All right, now let's move in right here. There are 2 ways to graph these problems. All depends on how they present it to you. First part, if x and y are on the same side, follow my example 2. And if y is totally alone, or maybe you could get it to be by itself, follow my example number 3. You'll see exactly what we're talking about there. Again, x and y together, and it really helps if x and y have a coefficient and they're on the same side, leave it. Look at example 2. If y is alone, or let's say y has no coefficient, like it's just a 1, there's nothing else there, then take a look at example 3. All right, here we go. Let's jump into these example problems. All right, so first part, tell whether the ordered pair is a solution of the equation. So what are we doing here? Well, for starters, we need to make sure we remember here's x, here's y. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to take this -2, that's x, and you're going to plug that right in there for x. Then you're going to take 3, which is y, and you're going to plug that right in there for y. So let's go ahead and do that. Rewrite it. -2 plus 2. And we're going to put parentheses in here because we are multiplying, and it's easier. Instead of just putting a dot or a little multiply x, put it in parentheses. That's the way you have to start writing these. Plug that 3 in right there, equals 4. Now, let's figure out that left-hand side. We need to determine if it is a true statement. So right here makes 6 plus, and that's a -2. -2 plus 6 is in fact 4, equals 4. So this is true. This whole statement is true. So we are saying yes. Tell whether the ordered pair is a solution. Yes, a solution. All right, let's take a look at part B here. Same directions, same style. So look at what we're given. Here's your x, here's your y. -6 for x goes in for x right there. Your 5 for y goes in right here for y. All right, so let's write all that out. You have a -5 parentheses 5, because that's y, minus 6 parentheses -6. And remember, when it's right there next to it in parentheses, it's multiplication. Don't forget that. And we're going to determine if this in fact equals 0. So let's take a look. -5 times 5 is a -25. Negative 6 times another negative 6 is a positive 36. Now, is 36 minus 25 0? No. So are we saying that this equals 0? No, it does not. This is not a solution. Negative 25 plus 36 does not equal 0. Therefore, the point they gave us, the negative 6, comma 5 point, does not show up on the line that the equation negative 5y minus 6x would create. That's why it's no, not a solution. All right, let's move into example 2 here. We are graphing. Now, given this equation, let's take a look. I want to go back up here. If x and y are on the same side, see my example 2. Y is alone, see my example 3. I'm taking a look at this. I believe that is backwards. So that's awesome. Good job, Mr. A. Let's go ahead and cross this out right here. No. See example 3. No. See example 2. All right. Now, let's move ahead. Here's y. We could make y by itself super easy by taking 4x and moving it over to the right-hand side. Now, what happens when you move the 4x across an equal sign? It is actually going to create a negative 4x. So this is now y equals negative 4x plus 1. There's the equation. Now here's what we're actually looking at here. This is what is called the slope-intercept format. Slope-intercept. Now, this is my slope. And this is my y-intercept. And if we remember, an intercept is where we either touch or cross an axis. And the y-intercept, remember that this is the y-axis. Here's my x-axis right here. So the y-intercept is saying this is where you cross or touch the y-axis. I see that it says a positive 1. So boom, right there, I have a dot right there. Okay. Now, from that dot, I then have my slope. So my slope is represented by a negative 4. But don't forget that that negative 4 is a negative 4 over a 1. So we are learning very, very soon that that is also represented as the rise over the run. So negative 4 means go down 4, and then the run means go to the right 1 time. So let's represent that. We're going down 1, 2, 3, 4, and then we are running 1 time. So we would be right here. There's our 2 dots. Once you have 2 dots, connect those dots. Right there. Boom, right there. So that equation could mean move that 4x over, and we can use this method called the slope-intercept format. That's the one method. Now let's take a look at example 3, and here's the other method. All right, here's the other method we could use. Notice how 3y, it has a coefficient of 3. 4x, it has a coefficient of 4. Moving things around would be way too difficult here. So what we're going to use in this situation is we are going to use the intercept. Oop, let's go back. The intercept method. So we're going to calculate what is the y-intercept, what is the x-intercept, and how do we do that? Here's the first thing you do. We're going to imagine that y is 0 and then solve for x. So let's show that. 3 times 0 plus 4x equals 12. Basically, that's saying, hey, cover up the 3y and just solve for 4x equals 12. X equals 3. So right there, I have my x-intercept. Okay, now we're going to do the exact same thing, but in this case, we're going to solve for y. So let's write 3y plus 4 times 0 equals 12. Now, one thing to remember, the 3 times 0, that cross out. Same thing, 4 times 0, that cross out. So what are we left with? 3y equals 12. Y equals 4. That is my y-intercept. Don't forget, there's the y-axis, there's the x-axis. Now, intercepts, that's where it touches or crosses that axis. So I have 1 at x equals 3. So we have 1, 2, 3 right there. And the y is y equals 4. So we're going to go up. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4 right there. Now, again, connect those dots, make the line. And there is your graph for the given equation, 3y plus 4x equals 12. So you're given two methods, all right? Two methods. When you have coefficients like this one, the 3, the 4, basically what you're doing is make one of those variables 0, solve for the other one. Now, if we look up here, you see all of this different method. If that made sense to you, excellent. If it doesn't, let's do a quick run through of what it would look like if we use the intercept, just straight intercept method. If we, let's use our red pen. If we made x equal to 0, if we made, again, x equal to 0, and we just had y plus 4 times 0 equals 1, you see how the 4 times 0 would cross out, and you would just be left with y equals 1. Take a look at the graph. Don't we already show y equals 1? We showed it right there. Okay, in fact, let's do our little pointer. We showed it right there. Okay, now let's go back. Let's make y equal to 0. If we make it equal to 0, it would be 0 plus 4x equals 1. This would cross out. You would divide both sides by 4, and it would be x equals 1/4. And if you take a look right there. That actually is 1/4 on the x-axis. 1/4 right there on the x-axis. So we're crossing at that same point. So you can see both methods will work. It just depends which you prefer, but I'm just recommending that you get used to showing or trying both, because throughout this chapter, we're gonna keep graphing and each method will be beneficial to understand. All right, that's what I got for you today, guys. Have a good one. We'll see you in the next video.